What's cracks, bud?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm alright. I still have that weird eye thing going on, which is annoying the fuck out of me. Because I can't walk out. Like, I mean, it'd be handy if I could just go and get my eyes tested. Then I'd know. But of course, you know.
It would be handy, alright, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but it's bank holiday today, obviously. But I'll ring them in the morning and see. But it's still coming up as emergencies only. But I suppose I could make a case of, well, I'm an artist. I need to be able to see. That's an emergency.
You're a driver, lorry driver.
But that's a lie.
No one would question it. You'd be like, look at me, I'm obviously a lorry driver.
I never think to lie in these situations. That's crazy. I should probably do more lying. I'd probably get more things.
It's not a lie. It's just.
It's a complete lie. There's no question.
It's not, because on an alternative timeline, you probably are a lorry driver.
Probably, yeah.
That's all. No, Grant here. I kind of find I'm not getting enough stuff done that I want to do because I'm spending far too much time doing manly things.
Right.
In the yard and the garden and doing stuff. But it's just that time of year, it's spring, so you have to get fucking shit done, you know? But like, at times you get a bit frustrated with it, but as well, like, I don't want to live in a shithole, so I need to repair the fence, you know?
Yeah.
And I need to do a lot of work on it and get it looking good. So, I mean, I don't mind because I like those types of jobs where, it clears your mind, like. You know, you have a lot of time to think when you're just painting and sanding and stuff.
What happens is, though, I just start arguing with people in my head, so it's a complete nightmare. It's like when I'm cutting the grass, I'm just going around screaming at people in my head, and then I come in, and I go, what happened? Oh, I just cut the grass. Why are you in the worst form ever? Fucking grass.
No, I don't get that at all. But like, I mean, I'm going to have to do a lot more of it because I used to do. This is the whole idea of going to a forest on my own to get, you know, time alone at the thing. And now I'm never ever going to a forest ever again.
Oh, you will. Of course you will. There's no question of that. You're not a small child, or you're not a hunter. So.
Oh God! It was so freaky. The second one.
It says missing 411 in case people who couldn't possibly know what we're on about is what we talked about. So we got Abraxas on Discord sent a link saying that Ireland has these missing 411 cases too, and so you hadn't heard about it at all, I assume, the missing 411
I looked
idea.
at 411 and it was like 411 means to get the lowdown. So it's like, hey homie, give me the 411 on Jenny. It's like, what the fuck?
It's like it's the equivalent of information or direct inquiries or
like,
something.
What the fuck are these guys on about 411? What? I'm like, okay. And then I looked up to this what's it called? The murder triangle or something in Ireland.
Oh, the vanishing triangle. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, Ireland has this vanishing triangle, but then there's a murder triangle up in Northern Ireland as well. I think Strabane, somewhere.
Surely there's any number of murder triangles from Northern Ireland.
I know, but this one's particularly bad. So right, there's like a couple of stretches of road which are. But anyway, but those women, most of those are explainable because like women stopped mysteriously disappearing in Ireland when Larry Murphy went to jail. You know?
Yeah, every mysterious woman missing in Ireland blamed on one man. It'll be interesting though after this is all over.
No. He apparently he's admitted in prison to other people. Oh yeah, I killed them.
Right.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's why people were so freaked out when he got released there. That was a couple of years ago. Maybe he's back in. I don't know. I was following the story. Now I'm not following it, so I don't know. But there's a bad guy in Ireland called Larry Murphy, which doesn't really narrow it down a lot because there's a lot of people in Ireland called Larry Murphy, I suppose. Yeah. But he's a particularly bad one. You know?
Be interested to see what the kind of like, let's go dark, very dark for a second. You know, people be in the lockdown and stuff. You know, if you're in an abusive kind of relationship or like, because you know yourself when you have a kind of a good relationship, like some of these things can push you to
fucking speak for yourself, Mr. Good Relationship. Huh?
Wow. I've as good as a relationship as anyone I know. I'll put it that way. But it'll be fun times. Say there's some people going through very harrowing experiences at the minute.
We were saying this the other night, weren't we, about the murders and the suicides, were we? No.
You did kind of mention it a bit, but sure, most of the people listening to this wouldn't have heard it anyway, so you may as well explain.
No, it's so like apparently there's apparently the murder rate at the minute in Poland anyway is massive. There's just murders going on left, right, and centre, and no one knows anything about it because officially it's never been a more crimeless time. Like, it's
Right, yeah,
wonderful. There's roses coming out of butterflies' arses. There's ponies jumping over meadows and sheep and stuff, and it's wonderful. But like, what's happening in reality is supposed to be quite different. And there was first kind of big leak kind of about this thing was there was some celebrity, I don't know who the fuck she is, on Instagram, some influential celebrity let a nurse from Warsaw, I believe, take over her Instagram for a day and do her Instagram stories so people could see what the hospitals look like, you know. Straight away, panic in the fucking Department of Health. They're like, ah! But one of the things she said was that, like, yeah, on a normal day we're getting about 30 suicides in, and about 15 of them are successful.
Oh no!
So you feel bad for the guys who couldn't even succeed at suicide, though.
Oh, I know. But
Sorry. No, but like, so like, there's all that stuff, and that's just one hospital. Okay, no, obviously it's in Warsaw, so it's going to be a busy hospital.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of
going
going on.
But like, I mean, what is the kind of normal rate of suicides coming into it? Like,
I don't know. Wouldn't know.
No, like, is it 2? Like, so, like, I mean, is 30 massive, or is it usually 28? You know, it's like
you hardly get 28 a day, don't you? But
I have no idea. I don't know what it's like to live in Poland. It could be a 28 a day.
Well, no. Poland's a really safe country. Like, it's much safer than Ireland. Ireland's murder rate is around 1 a day, and most of them are drug related, drug wars and stuff like that, and turf wars or whatever. Poland's much lower, so it is. It's way lower. The big crime here is burglary. So it is. So you get your shit stolen because it's whatever, junkies or just poor people sell it on or whatever, you know.
Is drugs a big problem in Poland too, as it is everywhere else?
It's a big problem everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know?
You see, the big problem in Russia is doctors falling out windows. Have you heard that?
Doctors falling out windows. What happened?
And it's very odd, kind of, because it's doctors who give out about the lack of PPE and about the madness that's going on in the hospitals.
Okay.
3 of them have fallen out windows in the last 2 weeks.
I saw that at the beginning, or when things were getting bad in Italy, Russia decided, well, things aren't bad enough in Russia, so let's send the army to Italy so that we can bring back lots of coronavirus. Okay, that makes sense, Mr. Putin. Okay.
Well, in a kind of herd mentality now, like herd immunity thing, wasn't it?
I'll send soldiers to help you.
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay. Soldiers? No, we need doctors. So you're getting soldiers. Okay.
Yeah, we're slowly but surely coming out of the lockdown here, very slowly, in that the main difference, I suppose, is that I can now go 5 kilometres away from my house rather than 2 kilometres, which is, no benefit to me whatsoever. Although I suppose technically it is in a kind of a randonauting sense that I would have a much wider thing, because I definitely want to get back into that, because I've seen that interview this morning with Lua and Comrade, and that's a great interview. Have you watched it yet?
No, I didn't get a chance yet.
No, it's very good. It's very good. It'll really put the want on you to go randonauting. But so I might do something like that later, because technically that's my exercise, just because I'm using it for a double experience.
Yeah, why not? Yeah. I want to get out to the forest too, but now those documentaries have the heebie-jeebies up me.
Well, we just get into it. Usually we take forever to get into actual
not yet. I'm not quite ready yet. I still have to build up to it,
Right, okay.
Like, come here, but some of the shops opened here today. There was like, and they were sending their info to the Chechen group on Facebook, and I was liking all the ones I seen, because all these little businesses, they need help.
Yeah.
But there's a weird thing that, like, if your shop is like within a shopping centre, you don't have to open yet, because you're not being charged rent while you're closed. And everyone's like, well, there's no point in reopening because no one's gonna come shopping. Like, are you going to be the first one into the shopping centre? Like, some old one coughs on you, like, no! Fuck! I'm only fucking one day back and I get sick. What the hell?
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think loads of people go back very quick. I'd say it'll be here anyway, because you can see it. Like, you can see people are not taking it as serious. As I keep mentioning, every week it gets worse and worse, but it's even more like groups on the street now and stuff like that, like where you kind of, you're on a normal day you'd be pissed off, where you go, well, you're blocking the entire street now for people, but when there's a pandemic in the middle, it was like, you're also, trying to kill me here. It's not just rudeness. But
It's like I saw something. Yeah, there's a Facebook called Humans on the Sesh. Do you know this one?
No.
So it's an Irish thing. You know, the Humans of New York thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
Thing. So it's a piss take of that. So it's Humans on the Sesh means on a session in Ireland means to go drinking. So it's this fella who puts up funny stories about locals, whatever. But he was saying that there's something really nice and heartwarming has been happening in his local park. Every day around noon, a couple of young lads in tracksuits, we'll call them, come in and sit down, and they even they get their little disinfectant out, and they spray the fucking seats. They're all wearing gloves, and they open their cans, and there's no sharing of the cans, and they're talking away. And then, but then a joint is produced, and they all just share the joint. It's just like,
yeah, whatever. Once the drugs
point,
like, yeah.
You may as well be fucking snogging each other, you know.
I know, yeah. But like, no, they're trying their best. And
they're trying
then the needles come out, and they're just sharing the needles. I mean, oh, sure, it's an awful problem. But yeah, all the kind of the youths around here, and not as in the young people, not as in or youths in Australia. They're like those trucks, aren't they? But it's like they're all, there's gangs of like 10 of them walking around, and like the cops are going down the street and they don't care either. Like, so it's,
all right.
You know, I mean, that's literally what the cops are meant to be doing, is going around to, you know.
They're too busy. I heard a good conspiracy theorist about, this Gemma O'Doherty figure. That
I know a little bit about her, but I'm trying not to know anything about her. But
I have to tell you this one because you like this.
I enjoy your perspective on it, because you'll have a decent perspective.
So Gemma O'Doherty is a former journalist with the Irish Independent and a few other people. And a few years ago, she had this big whistleblower.
This is a much better story.
She had a whistleblower story about corruption in the Irish police, and she got fucked over by everyone after that. And no one would allow her to write for her, even though everything she wrote was totally true. She just got blacklisted and screwed over. So since then, there's been this kind of a gradual fall from grace for her, where she's like really fallen in with the far right conspiracy nutters. I'm not allowed to say she's a racist, because she goes after people who call her racist, but I am allowed to say she spreads hate. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay. Because she's not a racist, she's just a hate spreader. She's very militantly, patriotically Irish. She thinks that the tune "Baby Deaths" are a hoax.
Oh, really?
She's bad. She's bad. She's a bad thing. But apparently, right, here's the conspiracy of it: is that there's loads of videos of her, not on YouTube anymore because her channel got deleted off it, but on these other BitChute and all them, where she's going around and she has a handy camera, GoPro, whatever, and she's just abusing police, just giving them socks, like, as they're standing in front of her. Like, they'll be walking on the street and she'll accost them going, human rights, brown people, rice, whatever. And it's just shit, like, and the guard is just standing there going, oh God, I can't do it, what the fuck, like. And so apparently, this is the conspiracy of it now, is that she is meant to be in the cahoots with the police and is handing over information on the people who donate to her. So if you join up to whatever it is, her Patreon or whatever, you're being watched by the cops, because now the cops know you were a far right sympathiser and a naughty boy.
I would say it's probably a lot easier just to look at our Patreon page and get the names without having to enlist her as a double agent.
It's whatever it's on. I'm sure it's not Patreon because wasn't there a whole load of psychos left Patreon because Patreon are very nice or something? Remember?
Well, yeah, the whole Jordan Peterson and all that. Yeah, but they did get rid of one person in particular. I can't remember. Again, that's just vague kind of background thing.
Teacups.
But Alistair Crowley was, of course, the very famous double agent during World War II, who would have played a similar role, I suppose, to Gemma Doherty in the public eye. But that's about the only comparison, I suppose, between the two of them. Yeah. So he would have been going around doing like kind of pro-Nazi propaganda, and he worked for I think it's like a pro-Nazi paper in the States or whatever. But he was pretty likely he was working for the British intelligence agency.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
Cool.
Great book in it. Tobias Churton, I think, wrote the book in it. So.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it's true.
No, it's
because
not. It's not Tobias Churton. It's Secret Agent 666. That's what it is. It's
right,
someone else.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy this one, to be honest, this conspiracy theory, but it's definitely within the realms of possibility, because she's going up to cops and she's just abusing them, like.
Let me see. Has she got mental health challenges? Do you think, or
I believe so. Yeah,
okay.
I think what happened is she had just broken up or divorced her husband, and then he got really sick really quickly and died very, very quickly. And they worked together. He was her editor and in the Irish Independent.
All right.
It was weird. At that time when I was working in there, he used to kind of run after her and stuff. And Gemma, please, wait, Gemma. And she'd like storm out of the room and all. Yeah, it was funny.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, but he had a horrible, shitty death. Got this weird, nasty, fucking thing that he was gone straight away. And there was other things as well. Like the whole thing about the. Finding the corruption in the Irish police, that was true. That was fucking amazing journalistic work what she did.
Yeah.
But then the whole of the media, or the mainstream media, just turned their backs on her because like we can't deal with you because you're going after these sacred chalices and all this kind of stuff. So
was it because of the cop thing or because what she did tried to do after it? But was she not commended for this great kind of takedown?
Oh, she was, yeah, right, of course, yeah. But
and then she went on and did mad stuff.
Yeah. Because no one would have her, and she's like, oh shit, I have to find a way of making money here. So then she just went further and further and further down into the right-wingy conspiracy. Like she's all like fluoride in the water and 5G and blah and nonsense, we love a good conspiracy, but
for sure. But one thing I've totally come to the whole conclusion of is that the mainstream narrative and the conspiracy anti-mainstream thing is exactly the same pendulum. It's exactly the same thing. It's all feeding the one thing. It's not. Whereas the conspiracy likes to think it's pointing away from it, or somehow not a different train of thought or a different way of looking. It's not. It's exactly the same pendulum. The whole thing.
I think it used to be different.
I think it did, yeah. I certainly don't think I would have been attracted to conspiracies had I been presented the ones we have now. No, I don't like this.
I think like the old conspiracy theories that we liked, 10, 15, 20 years ago, like if they could come back in a new form, then people would be like them again. Like all of the aliens and the JFK stuff and all this, that's all great fun.
Yeah. But even around the UFOs, because that's... that's the New World Order too. That's the, it's the military. It's like, it's kind of all kind of bleeds into the one narrative. Just no. Can we have some sort of angelic being from the Pleiades who's 3,000 years in the future coming in, and knows stuff? I'll read that book. I have read that book.
Your friend's YouTube channel about the occult book reviews. He has one about that American Cosmic, isn't it?
Yeah.
He had a completely different take on it that I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, and a very good take on it.
And really good, really smart, really intelligent. And I was like, wow, okay, I didn't see that at all, And plus,
and at the same time, what I liked about it...
He went into the characters in the book. Like, I just took it as, she says who they are, and you're like, okay, that's who they are. But he says in the book, no, well, actually, if you did, if you dig a little bit into who they are, you find out that, like, okay.
Yeah, here he is. I
see. So the book, lost a lot of marks for me after watching it, because it's like, okay, you've done your shit, you've done your research, but like, well, I mean, it's a good book.
It is, and he even says that thing. He says, "I really enjoyed this book, but this whole thing, I think it's basically says it's harmful, and it is harmful." In the way he presents it and stuff, he makes a really good case for it. But he also did the same for a thing called the Skull experiments, which are a very, very famous and well kind of touted ESP. A mediumship type thing where people set aside every week, whatever it was, for a year, and to contact the dead and all this kind of thing, and started getting things appearing on film within cameras, and loads of these things appearing, and it's a well-known kind of thing. And I bought the book, and I never ever actually got round to reading it because literally the week I got the book, he did a video where he goes, "Yeah, this is total bullshit. This is utter bullshit." And I went, all right, no point in reading that book then, because I believe you, because I know, like, he's huge fan of the woo, like, and so he's not that he's just opposed to any of these kind of ideas, like, but it's like he's going, no, not convinced.
It's a great channel
at all. Yeah,
I
don't think he's done one in a while though.
Pretty much all of the books, all of the ones that I watched so far, I just put on my fucking wish list of books that I want. Like, I gotta read that. That sounds it. I got one of them today actually. One that's like 600 pages long, so it's good value for the money. What the fuck was it called? The Lost Teachings of something. Is that what it was called?
I think that the something's probably the key to that title.
Let me get it up here in my purchases. Kupione is purchases in Popol School. So right. There's this, The Secret Teachings of All the Ages.
Oh, yeah.
Manly Hall Manly.
Yeah, you've come across him before, haven't you? Manly P. Hall.
No?
Oh, have you not? He's kind of similar to... well, no, I was going to say, it's kind of around that New Thought kind of time, but it's not really that similar. It's a good book. You'll enjoy that.
Yeah. I like the one he has. He has one about your man behind the Mothman prophecies as well, so I want to get those books as well.
John Keel.
I know the Mothman thing, but I'd like to read up a bit more on it, you know?
That John Keel's book is the one, that's the one to read.
Keel.
I might have an audiobook of that somewhere that could make its way over to you.
I mean, I think he starts the video and he's like known as the Hunter S. Thompson of conspiracy theories. I'm yes,
for sure.
That's my man. That is my man.
I'm reading a great book at the minute. I'm reading a number of great books at the minute, as you know, is what I do. The Pronoia one is just exceptionally great. I can't wait for you to
can't wait to get it.
The other one I was showing you, remember I said I forgot I had this book, and it's Uprooters. It's In Search of the Green Man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
On my list. That's on my list too.
It's like the first chapter is just kind of an introduction to who she is and what it is, and I'm kind of setting it up. The second chapter, she gets straight into wanting to set up a sex cult. Talks about Aleister Crowley, Lieber Null, Peter J. Carroll, and all that's going. Yeah, totally into this, and it's hogging around forests trying to find essentially, Pan, the Green Man, and all this. It's really good. It's done in one of those kind of one of those kind of documentary type books, where it's them going through finding the story as it goes along. What is it called?
Gonzo.
Is that what Gonzo is? Yeah.
Hunter S. Thompson. This is he puts himself right in the middle of the story.
So it's John Ronson then that Gonzo.
Oh, John Ronson is Gonzo. Oh, Gonzo. Yeah.
Louis Theroux, that kind of stuff.
Louis would be too. Yeah.
Right. That's good because I know the name and I just kind of always just associated with Hunter S. Thompson, and I never just got around to working out exactly what it is. But sure, that makes sense. Yeah, so it's like that, and that's my favorite type of kind of non-fiction book. It's the one with. You're learning the story at the same time as the guy who's writing the story.
Yeah. You're learning it through their experiences. It's great, I don't think he didn't invent it, but he was the one who became the most famous for him. I think a couple of other... It's one of those weird things that happened in... the way that Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, but also someone on the other side of the world also did the same time, and the same with the steam engine.
The idea from idea space, and then looking for different people.
The steam
Nylon
engine
is the other one, isn't it?
Nylon, and then the steam engine was invented by 5 people within 6 months of each other on the same island or something fucking mad like that. Yeah. So this Gonzo journalism was also a thing. You should read his first one about the Kentucky Derby. Is fucking hilarious.
The bit in Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas where he goes off to the dust fields and that race.
No. This is about the Kentucky Derby is like the Cheltenham Gold Cup for America. So it's the biggest horse race of the year.
Right. Yeah.
And it's his first one that got into Rolling Stone or something like that. And it's absolutely... No, it's not even Rolling Stone. Before Rolling Stone. It's his first Gonzo journalism piece. But this is back when journalism was... of this type was like an 8-page article in a magazine.
Oh, right.
Not like now where it's like, it has to be 300 words. Like, how do I explain this in 3... Anyway, so, yeah, man, read it. It's hilarious. It's absolutely brilliant. It's so funny. It's just... No, I'm not going to spoil it for you. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, also as well, thanks for sending me the fucking solar punk thing.
Oh, now
I know what I am.
Cool. Yeah, it was just I've heard the kind of expression over the years, solar punk. Well, not over the years, over the last couple of years, and just different pieces. But I've just noticed more people using it recently. So it just goes, I must actually see what the actual definition of it is, because I had a vague kind of notion of what it is. And I thought, Spud would like the look of that.
Yeah. This is Spud all over. Whereas I had the fucking... I closed it because I have something open about the 411. There was a couple... There's a Solarpunk Manifesto. It's on re-des.org. And Solarpunk.
All right.
What was the number? Where is it? Let me get it now. Sorry. It's not down that low. At its core, yes, Solarpunk is a vision of a future that embodies the best of what humanity can achieve. Hurrah!
Yeah,
I'm already
on board. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Let's have some of that,
post-scarcity, post-hierarchy, post-capitalistic world where humanity sees itself as part of nature and clean energy replaces fossil fuels. I mean, that's awesome.
That's what we want.
It's only number 4 in the list then, And number 5, the punk and solar
Number
punk
5, the Jews are the root of all evil. No.
Oh, no. Why is there always someone who hates the Jews? What the fuck? The punk and solar punk is about rebellion, counterculture, post-capitalism, decolonialism, and enthusiasm. It is about going in a different direction than the mainstream, which is increasingly going in a scary direction. I mean, fucking hell, man! Fucking trying to get solar punk tattooed on my forehead. It's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much in line with the whole kind of fuck you positivity of Grant Morrison and as you will know, the Pronoia book as well. So yeah, I mean, like it's great to find a label.
Yeah, I have a label. Almost 40, approaching middle age. I finally know who I am. Now I just need to monetize it.
Yeah. So I'm a capitalistic solo punk. How can I make T-shirts with solar punk on it?
I'm getting a bit down lately because I've been trying to talk with people about what changes are going to come after this pandemic that's going to make society better or more even, and to just go nowhere. Like, I got really annoyed last weekend on the Poland podcast that I put out on my stuff with my mates who live here, and they just couldn't. Not that they couldn't grasp what I was getting at, but to them it was just like, everyone's going to go back to normal. But like,
it's not.
Like, we have this chance of making everything better now
because it's a pendulum. And a pendulum wants to keep
and I don't mean to make fun of them, but I'm just like, I mean, I just and then like it's egoistic of me to be like, no, you're thinking the wrong way. We should think like this, and let's all make everything better. So it's that's not why I'm going. But I mean, what I mean is that like I was saying to Agatha as well when we went on a big walk and we were talking about it, and she was like, well, you just want anarchy. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's kind of pretty much what I want. Like, the animal kingdom is anarchy. And anytime you see people queuing in a shop, that's anarchy. That's people are like, well, I mean, I could barge to the front, but no, I'll wait my turn. That's anarchy. Anarchy's not that bad. Anarchy can be fine. That's
because we have a bad kind of notion of what anarchy is. It just means without government. It doesn't mean without rules.
Exactly.
Smaller
like,
local.
Like, money is this thing that doesn't exist, and it is as easy as just pulling it out of thin air. So like, if you want your health system to be debt free, okay, all we have to do is make that a law. You are now debt free. Everyone vote. Everyone votes. Yeah, aye. Okay, cool. Okay, you're debt free. Let's make this better and cooler. And this is the whole thing. Like with Sweden, why Sweden didn't have a lockdown. Because the theory is that, well, our health system is really good, so we'll be able to cope with it. And they have.
Yeah. And that's the bit that's missing from the conspiracy kind of narrative and that. Well, Sweden did nothing. Because, well, Sweden has been doing a lot for a long time.
Yeah.
The whole point of why we in Ireland couldn't, or we had the lockdown, it was for the simple thing of we're not ready when this hits. Yeah. We're not, in a situation where we can cope with it. And so if we can kind of stall it and kind of make it, be able to cope with Sweden, as you say, it just went, no.
Yeah, we got this.
I think we can do this. Yeah.
Hurdy-gurdy, we got this.
And Iceland did something cool as well. Well, if the internet is not lying to me, where they just essentially just tested everyone very early, and then you have it over now. Over now.
Iceland's amazing anyway, aren't they? Isn't Iceland the portal between the two worlds? Isn't that it?
Oh, that's it, yeah. But
who has a documentary about it? There's one of those not very good documentary Discovery ones. Expedition Unknown.
Oh, right, yeah.
He has a good one in Iceland, and they bring him to this place where the Vikings used to bring offerings because they thought that they had found this gap between the worlds where the underworld our world, and they would bring just like it's covered in bones, animal bones.
Right. Oh, cool. I must check this one out.
But it's just tons and tons of these animal bones that have been there for 1,000 years kind of thing, you know.
Right.
Cool. So
Nice.
his subjects are good, but it's just they do it in a very sellouty or dumbing down kind of way.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. So made for TV rather than for.
Yeah.
I get that.
Which brings us nicely along, Tommy.
To Missing 411.
411.
So again, as I was saying, Abraxas, thanks to him, he on the Discord, he wasn't really, I don't think he was really suggesting, he was just pointing out that there is an Irish kind of thing. So he says, right, we'll dig out these documentaries, because I only have heard your man, the main guy, talking about it. I'd never seen any of his stuff, or I've never read his book. He was on Mysterious Universe a couple of years ago, I'm pretty sure, or it was Coast to Coast. You know, I went through a whole Coast to Coast AM period of my life, which I'm sure you did too. Everyone kind of does. And so I was expecting, especially the first documentary, to be a lot more woo than it was. Because just the way he talks in other places, he's a lot more wooed in that documentary. Like, he comes to different conclusions. Whereas, had this just been on, I don't know, Channel 4 or Netflix and you knew nothing about it, there's no kind of woo implications, apart from there's one sentence at the end where one goes...
At the very end.
At the very end. And then you go, all right, okay. But, like... Vanessa, my wife, we were watching it, and like it was halfway through, I was going, you know, this is a woo documentary, and she's going, all right, okay, right. I didn't realise it. I was going, oh, maybe it isn't then.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I watched, we haven't watched them in a while now, but these are one of the regular things that my ma and I watch, are these murder mysteries in America, and we were watching loads of them, like one a night kind of thing, until a couple of weeks ago, where there was a really horrific one where some fella just it was awful.
Bad stuff.
Kids, it's just, and since then I can't bring myself to watch. It was horrible.
Right.
But this 411, the first one, what's the first one called? Just 411.
Missing 411.
Missing 411. So it's like one of those standard investigation Discovery Channel, whatever that. There's 3 of them I have in the package. There's a Sky Crime one, there's Discovery and Investigation, and then there's another one as well. But anyway, they're all formulaic things. Something bad happens, let's find out who he is. Yeah. And, that's basically what the first one is. It's just, okay, these people go missing. We don't really know what happens, but here's the things that are the common threads between them. Yeah. You know?
And even in the first one, the common threads, like that kind of bigger list that becomes more evident about the thing. That's not like it's not really played up too much in the first one either. But particularly the stranger things, like the weather stuff, which is very strange. You know, that's not. It is mentioned, but it's not kind of. Yeah, it's just kind of mentioned back when. Oh yeah, when we started, you know, looking, there was a snowstorm, or when we started looking, there was this, you know, rain came in. But it's not really kind of, you know, kind of pushed as an interesting part of it. But it starts off at the beginning with basically one case, and kind of more or less that's the main case for the whole thing, where this family with the grandfather and a friend, which was instantly very strange, that whole kind of thing, and a young 2-year-old go camping, and then they go fishing, and he goes missing, and then it's kind of comes out from there. But you could tell nearly straight away that you're going, there's something...
Yeah.
You know, this. I'm not instantly thinking Bigfoot here at all. I'm thinking parents. You know, I'm thinking humans here.
Or the granddad's weird mate.
Who turns out to be a sex offender. So, you know, just kind of like, and you're going, oh right, okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
I can't find the list now. Oh, here it is. Do you want the list? I'll give it to people.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
So he goes through missing persons or missing persons reports, and he tries to find things that can link them together.
But it's more, I suppose it's more specifically, he started in national parks. He thinks it was originally a conspiracy of national parks, isn't it? Like that? Yeah, not just people in like New York City going missing or anything like that.
So I think there's a few. I think there's about 12 or something. So the incidents I'm getting this from theoccultsection.com, which have a good review about it. The incidents he's interested in all fit certain criteria. So here we go. The people have gone missing in the woods or other outdoor setting. They have all been separated from others in their group. They have vanished near water or large granite boulder deposits. Dogs cannot seem to track the victims. Clothing is often partially or completely missing from the victim. The missing seem to vanish in geographical clusters. They are found alive or dead in an area that was previously searched. and so on. So okay, so that's only some of them. Things that he excludes is that he excludes mentally ill people because they just might go wandering.
Right. Yeah.
People who want to go missing, they're excluded as well. I think there's a list of about 12 things, and like there's none of them in either of the two documentaries that have all 12 factors.
No.
But they'll have like 8 or 10 out of them or 6 or whatever, and it's very strange that you're watching it and just going, yeah, like what? Why are they all linked? And as well, like there's clusters. Like there's one place that had 15 disappearances, of which were all quite similar. And it's like, okay, like one place where they went up really high into the mountains and they went to this vista, a viewpoint. Now, that just stinks of suicide, to be honest.
Yeah, it does.
You know? So linking those ones is a bit of a stretch. But then, like, when you're just in the forest, you know, that borders Yosemite, and there's like all of these, there's like 15 people who all go missing, and a lot of them have the similar things. It's very weird. It's very weird.
Yeah. And it's like, it's in the second one where your man's talking to some ranger or something, and he's gone, and you've been, you know, how long have you been working in the forest? And he goes like, well, I'm nearly 52 and I've been here my entire life and I'm 20 years in this, whatever. So what do you think it is? And he goes, well, aliens. And then there's just like silence. Oh no, well, I think it's animal attacks.
Yeah, he says we are near Roswell. Isn't that what he says? Yeah. It was funny. I mean, the first one, I think the second one was a lot better than it because it's more woo. Plus, as well, your man, what the fuck is his name? Paul something, isn't it? No, David Paulides.
Yeah.
He's not. He's in the first one, but he doesn't talk and he doesn't narrate it. But in the second one, like you see him actually speaking to the relatives of loved ones and all that, and he's in it and he's interviewing them and stuff. He's quite good at the interviews as well, and because he's asking the proper questions, he's not going like really mad deep into them, but he's just asking simple questions to get people to talk.
Yeah.
I thought he was quite good, but like, it's like anything though. You know, you're watching telly. You know,
yeah. You
how
have
much
to kind
of
of
it? Like I was petrified going to bed last night. I was
know.
fucking scared after watching it.
Like it's heartbreaking. Like something like the kids stuff, and you see their parents and stuff. That bit where your man, the guy who was holding like his kid's skull in his hand, like it was the only bit that was found of him. Going, like, I mean, how do you even start to deal with that? Yeah. And you can just see him crying later on because he's going like, I don't think this is an animal attack. You know, he hasn't closure because he's looking at the clothes. There's no animal attack that. Why was his clothes removed? Yeah. And there's kind of weird kind of inconsistencies in the report saying that someone or something removed the clothes and then moved them 12 miles, but the clothes still ended up beside him. Yeah. You know, it's very odd.
It's very odd.
Yeah. But the problem with the very first one, the main story is that after this documentary, the FBI did consider the parents as persons of interest, and when they kind of, as far as I can gather, they got a divorce or they separated, and either in her house or someone's house they found the clothes of the child that they said he had been wearing the day he went missing. And then there was kind of talk of that they found a place close to where there seemed to be like a child or a body had been stored for a while. So, like, the whole mystery of that very first one is, like, it's so mysterious and it doesn't make any sense unless you go, oh, well, there was no child there in the first place and he had already been killed, and then it's not a mystery at all. It's just 4 fucking nutbags covering up a murder. But it's... even though in the story at the beginning, when they're going fishing and they kind of say to the kid, who's a 2-year-old, remember, no, why not, do you want to go back to your grandfather? And you're going, even at that, I thought it was very, very strange. Because no, you don't treat a 2-year-old like that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't allow them to make that decision in a forest in the middle of nowhere. Like.
No. You'd go with him until you put him with Grandad, and then you'd walk back or whatever. Yeah. You don't just let a 2-year-old off. Yeah. But, you know, Christ almighty, we were in Portugal last year, and we went into this kind of museum thing, and it, you know, the museums are like, you know, it's in a room, but they make the room smaller by putting up stuff that you have to look at and go around and go around. And Jesus, every 30 seconds the young fella was gone. There was one, honestly, there was one point I was sprinting down. I couldn't find him, and I was just like, Miggy, where are you? And I was running up to the security guards. Did you see a kid? And the people started helping me. Honest to God. And next time we go around, I turn around some corner, and he's looking at this giant screen. Tata, shark! Shark! I'm like, all right, okay, cool, you're alive. Thank fuck. I was like, oh no, how am I going to tell your mother you're missing? You know?
Yeah, oh man.
But like you know yourself, that's what kids are like. They just, you gotta watch them like a hog.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I mean, there's the other thing as well that really surprised me, but then again, kind of didn't surprise me because of America, and that, like, that the people that go missing in the national parks and all that, they're not, the national parks are run by the federal government in a federal department, but they're not joined up. And like they kind of have their own like sheriff units and stuff like that. And there's just a lot of bungling in these cases where it's like, oh yeah, well, we'll look for them. And then 2 days later, they're like, oh shit, we're fucked. Like, we need the FBI, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell is going on? It's a missing person. Like, just throw everything at it. Like, no one cares how much money this is going to cost. Did the government pay for it?
Yeah, but I suppose I don't know what way they're funded. Maybe they just don't have the thing. Because even they were saying that to make a list of everyone that has gone missing in these national parks, it's 1.4 or 1.8 million it would cost to make that.
And they wanted to charge the documentary makers like $1.8 million to make a list of people that have gone missing in their fucking national fucking parks. The fuck is wrong with that country?
It's so weird.
Jesus. I know.
So big though. We have to give them that. It's a quite a tremendously big country to say, like, if it is all kind of separate to kind of put all that stuff together. But another thing that really,
even on the other kind of murder mystery things that I watched with my mum, like, it wasn't until the 80s, I think, that the whole of America had their fingerprint database like united in one thing. So it's like if someone could go on a rampage in fucking Texas, but then move across the border into whatever state borders Texas, I have no fucking idea. Sorry. Kentucky hole, Dakota hole. I have no idea. And then just live, you know, oh God, I regret what I did there. I'm not going to have a life of crime anymore. I'm just going to be a good person. And then, like, he'll never turn up because the two states have different fucking fingerprint databases.
I know, but
what the fuck?
I know, but like, here's a good story. Well, years and years and years ago, I had cramps in my stomach, and I ended up having to go in to get a camera in an orifice in the hospital. And it ended up, I don't know why, because I went to casualty without a doctor's appointment. They charged me 250 quid or something like that because I didn't go to the doctor first. That's the rules, my own fault. But I'm then anyway to pay it, and I paid it in the hospital or whatever on, say, the left-hand side of the room. And then a couple of weeks later, I got a letter saying, you haven't paid this, you need to pay this. And I went, I have paid it, you know. So I rang them up and I went, oh, right, you paid it on the left-hand computer. Yeah, that doesn't come up on the right-hand computer. Right, no worries.
Oh, my God.
This is why all conspiracies fall apart very quickly, because we're rudderless.
The ineptitude of fucking humans, you know? Yeah, but like, I don't know, Tommy, like, I came away from it going like, yeah, there's definitely something up here. But then I did like just a tiny bit of looking into who Politis is, like, and that he runs an organization which I can't find the name of it now. It's gone.
He's a cop though, originally. He's a detective. It's not
he was a cop, he was a proper cop, he runs this organization that is
is it the organization called Jews are the root of all evil or something?
No, it's not Jews are the root of all evil. No, it's about investigating what do you call it? Bigfoot.
Yes, yeah, but see, that's the thing. That when I had heard him on Mysterious Universe or Coast to Coast, whatever it was, is that it was in a Bigfoot connection. Like, it was definitely, that was what I thought this documentary was about. You know, I was just waiting, right, now at some stage the Bigfoot's going to, you know, be presented. And the only time it kind of really is mentioned, I suppose, is the recordings in the second one of that weird animal noises, which is freaky, in fairness.
Yeah, really weird.
Yeah.
No, but at the end of the first one, there's like one comment by a lady who, she appears early on because she, I think she was lobbying to get the national parks to put, to unify their lists of missing people. Do you know? I don't remember how. It's a crazy big number. I don't remember what it is.
I think she's originally the one who started putting together this kind of idea of it, like, and then he took over
Yeah.
from it, something like that. Yeah.
So she makes a thing that there's like, she says something like, we don't actually know what's going on. And when you look into it so much, you have to ask yourself, do you actually want to know what's going on? And you're like, ho.
And then this kind of hint of something like, what if this thing has been around as long as humans have been around? Or, this kind of, we should stop looking for a rational explanation for it or something. But that's kind of the only thing in the entire first documentary that's thing. Second one, halfway through it just kind of goes, right. It's just like a point where it goes, we're getting into it now.
It's like, well, you've watched this much, so let's this is what you're all here for. But it's the first. They talk to these guys who have a kind of secret camp. Yeah, that sounds bad. A secret hunting camp. But like, is it in Yosemite or beside Yosemite? It's in it.
I don't know.
And so
I only know it took 40 years for the authorities to find it, to get them to dismantle it.
That's pretty cool, though, isn't it? Yeah, imagine having your own little summer retreat like that. Yeah. But like, I was watching, and they will go to this place for 40 years. It's been handed on to them, like 2 or 3 generations of people to go to this place. You drive up and you park up, then you get up on your horses, ride into the mountains for like a day, and then you set up camp, and then you're hunting for like, all that sounds wonderful except the hunting bit. I wouldn't really be into hunting. I'll eat it, but I don't know if I'd be able to. Well, anyway, that's neither here nor there. But so, like, what kind of got me was that, like, since the 70s, they've been hearing these, like, noises and whatever. These things calling each other across the valley. And I'm like, why have they been going back for 40 years? I mean, the first night I'd heard that, I'd be straight up on the horse and getting the fuck out of there. I'm not hanging around with that shit. Like,
no, you think that. Like, you're probably really as much intrigued and excited by it as you are kind of terrified by it. And particularly after the first couple of times when, you don't get your arms ripped from your body or something terrifying happens, it just becomes... And it's probably, I assume,
maybe
not
that's
every
Bigfoot's
year.
plan, though. Maybe that's Bigfoot's plan. He lulls you into a false sense of security, and then he rips your arm off.
He waits for the documentary to be made and then goes, right, here we go, we're going to get them all now.
See, the Bigfoot's not a primate like us at all. Like, we find the food, we kill it, we eat it. He's actually related to the cat family. Right. And he likes to play with his prey. He's like, ha, 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 ha. I'm going to wait till they get their cameras out and they'll win an Oscar. That's why I'm going to wait for the Oscar, and then I'm going to fuck them all up badly.
But that's the lightsaber one. I know it was a reenactment, but that would have freaked me out.
That looked cool, huh?
Yeah, like.
But your man, that's what I was going to say. One of the fellas who was in this camp, Ron Morwood is his name. He's someone well known in the Bigfoot thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
And it's not mentioned at all that, like, these guys, like, they know each other. Like, they know each other. Yeah. It's not that, like, oh, I found this man who camps in a place where something happens. It's like, no. These lads have been and going to the same, like, Comic-Con conferences or whatever they are for weird shit.
Bigfoot Con.
Bigfoot conferences. They probably have them, don't they?
Yeah, probably.
And so they definitely know each other, and nothing is made of that at all. And, so it kind of loses a bit for me then.
Yeah, and kind of, that one where your man he loses his boots and then he goes off. There's more to that story that isn't revealed in it, like that. It's like they don't mention that they were all on drugs at the, like after that horse, the pony then goes insane and they're at the camp. Supposedly there was some drugs taken at that point.
Right.
And there's different kind of... I might be conflating 2 different stories, but I know one of the main kind of... arguments against him is that mostly, this is interesting, he's not trying to pull the wool over people's eyes or make up the stuff, but he does seem to leave out key information.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could imagine someone being off their head on mushrooms and taking their shoes off.
And even, like, I can understand them going, right, I'm going to leave out the drugs things because people just go, that's drugs. But, like, it's still a weird story if it's still... And also he was on drugs. Well, that's even more impressive in some ways, But, like, leaving the shoes, the boots, and then, he turns up... It's like weeks later, like another 10 miles away or something, that overlooking someone's farm and just kind of makes a cup of tea.
Yeah.
Like, what?
It's a house there, man. You'd be safe. Yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, he must have been tripping balls.
Yeah. Or like there's the old guy, the 80-year-old guy who went missing. was talk
Yeah,
that he
first
was
guy, yeah.
depressed, and there was there was a whole kind of background story that there's like maybe he wanted he wanted not to be found.
because he asked the son, "How was your dad that day?" And he said something. It was one of the best days. Yeah, it was one of the best he had. Oh, what did he phrase it like? It was the best I'd seen him in a while or something. So you're like, okay,
Right.
what do you mean in a while? What?
Yeah.
What do you mean? Why was something
but also,
wrong?
like with the whole suicide thing, that's one of the key things that you have to watch out for with a depressed person. If there's a sudden, massive positive change in their demeanor and their mood, because it points to the fact that they've decided to kill themselves.
Yeah.
And because they're now, oh well, the pressure's off, I'm going to kill myself and whatever. And so it's like that's a big warning kind of sign of that.
Yeah.
If someone's been massively depressed and then all of a sudden, hey, let's go hunting, it's probably, hold on, Dad, let's sit down and have a chat. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the second one's really good. I think people should watch the second one. You don't really need the first one.
Watch the first one because it's a well-made documentary about missing people.
Yeah.
Not don't put it in your woo pile at all.
Yeah.
It's just it's an interesting, well-made, good, well edited. Color correction's great in it, all of this kind of stuff.
Correction.
Yeah, all of that stuff. Like, I mean, it's all done. There is definitely some video banding going on in some of the drone shots that it was annoying, but we let them off. Still, overall good. And there's a really great edit at the beginning, which I thought was excellent. This is totally nerdy stuff, but you might appreciate it. But when they're interviewing the radio guy, at the very beginning, and so it starts with him talking, and it's kind of them setting up the studio. So we're setting up the documentary, setting the whole thing, and then you can see the mic and you can see the camera, and he goes, "Yeah, so I knew something was wrong with bam, proper shot when I first talked to them." And I went, "Yeah, we're in here. This is going to be well made. It's a really good shot, really good shot."
The last story as well in it is
the
about
Predator.
this giant Bigfoot predator, like Predator 1980s Arnie movie. This thing that fucking morphs out of a tree and then she can't see it properly, but it's moving.
And then she takes a photo of her hair. That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, and like the argument was strange for like, well, I mean, obviously it's paranormal because it cropped the image within the phone. I was like, okay, I've never heard that argument before.
No,
it's a good one.
I don't think you noticed that the filmmakers kept showing her hair after that, like just constantly just sewing it in on her hair. How it looks so similar. But what I thought was really cool about that was that the fact that she totally forgot about it and wouldn't have even mentioned it other than something else happened. She goes, "Oh, I forgot that happened to me today."
Yeah.
With the kind of implication that had this other strange thing not happened, she just would have never remembered that incident at all. And that's very similar to the UFO stuff, like all the reports you hear.
Yeah, but here's the UFO link as well, is that your man, the old guy, her husband, he's pretty old in it.
Yeah.
He done stuff with the US government. I'm reading it here. He was a preeminent video analyst for hundreds of alleged UFO videos as a member of NICAP and MUFON.
Oh, right.
So he's proper ufology stuff, And they don't go into that either. They just fucking mention it.
Well, they do kind of mention that, like, it's as if what I found when he was introduced, that you're kind of, I meant to know who this guy is. Because they're kind of talking about, and of course, my husband is Jim or whatever. And you're like going, but I don't know who he is. So just tell me who he is.
You shouldn't do that. And as well, like, if they'd said that he has experience in all this stuff, all right, cool. I mean, that lends more to it. And it's the same with the hunter guy. What was his name? I know I said it. Ron Moorhead. If they'd said that he is not a Bigfoot hunter, you don't ever call anyone a Bigfoot hunter because it's just like, oh god. But like if they'd said that he's a paranormal researcher or something like that, then okay, cool.
Yeah.
I think it lends a bit more sometimes. But
there's something that I found nice about the fact that it didn't try, it didn't do the ancient alien things of where it's kind of going, are these people missing? Or is it the Bigfoot? From the beginning. It just doesn't mention it at all. It just kind of weaves this narrative and then at the end kind of goes, oh, and also there's predators. End credits. But, which I kind of enjoyed because it was kind of going, there's no conclusion at all. And there's no kind of summing up by the dude himself. Like, he's not kind of put a narrative on it. But he does seem to do, in the very brief interviews I've heard of him outside, he does seem to have conclusions and he has his own kind of thing that's going, what he feels is going on. So, but in one sense, I thought, yeah, well, I suppose just show the facts, man. Show the thing.
why
But it's
does
not
he-
quite that. Not quite
what
that
does,
though.
What does he think is going on with the federal parks then, rather than just so like normal people go missing, or does
He
think
thinks
that
it's a cover up because it happens way more than is let on, and they want people to still go to the parks and stuff like that. And I think that if it gets out, then no one would go to the parks.
but he still thinks that it's like it's Bigfoot everywhere. It's just
Well, I don't know if it's Bigfoot, but it's it's like same with define Bigfoot. He thinks. See, I'm not going to say what he thinks because it's a few years ago and I could be adding in 6 other interviews from 6 other different people.
Yeah.
But he definitely seems to have he thinks something. He has a conclusion about it, or at least he's putting some kind of point forward, which you can get if he's hanging out with Bigfoot guys and UFO notes at the end too.
See the Bigfoot. Were you ever into the because Bigfoot never really spoke to me?
No, I find it tremendously boring. Like in that, it's like it's a 10-minute segment of an hour show that I can kind of deal with it. And here's an interesting video. What is it? Goes, all right. Well, it's obviously a human in a in a suit, or it's not. Well, that's it. There's one that's kind of 2 guys out in mountains, and there's a guy walking up a mountain or like a snowy cliff, and that's really interesting. But it's blurry and all that.
Yeah.
Right, Grant, but I don't want a 2-hour documentary about that.
Yeah. See, the thing for me with Bigfoot is that, when you're a kid, all that stuff is interesting. But for me, if Bigfoot's a thing, well, then it's just like a gorilla. It's like, just leave it alone. It's a fucking animal.
Well,
I mean, what are you going to do?
The interdimensional kind of theory of Bigfoot.
No, hold on. Now, let's not go too far. But it's like, okay, so like the most logical explanation would be that it's an animal that we don't know. All right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if it is that, and it probably is that, just leave it alone. What are you going to do? You're going to cage it and put it in fucking zoos? Do you know?
Has TV and movies touching nothing? That's exactly what we're going to do if we find the Bigfoot.
Leave it alone. I mean,
and he will climb the top of a very tall building, and he will all of these things. But it's like people get very strange with the Bigfoot stuff though. Like it's a real kind of niche kind of, but it's like there is this interdimensional thing. There's spirit helpers. Other people think they're tremendously evil and all of this, which is kind of echoed in that kind of thing that your one says at the end. He goes, what if this is something that has been about since the beginning of time? It's always lurking in the shadows, waiting for you, Spud, looking at you when you're having a wank, looking at you in disgust.
It's the thing though. I mean, that's just me having a wank. Like the thing is all about it is like I'm gonna have to make sure like I try and do as few things on that list as possible. So like I want dogs to always be able to scent me, so I'm gonna drag a sweater behind me as I walk. Don't get separated from anyone that I go into the forest with. If you go into the forest with someone, fucking stay with them.
Stay away from boulders.
Stay away from
all boulders.
Which is fine. That's easy to do in Poland. There's not that many, unless you go to like an actual boulder place. I'm not going to them anymore ever again, unless I go in with someone and I just stay with them all the time as I drag my sweater behind me. Yeah. Fucking hell, it's a lot of things to remember. No, I think the Bigfoot thing never really spoke to me because I mean, like I think of Bigfoot and the first thing I think is Harry and the fucking Hendersons. But then, the second thing is that like there's no tradition of this in Europe.
No.
There's none. Do you know, like in Europe, we had sex with the Neanderthals, so we bred them out.
Yeah.
In America, they were just left alone because there was no one there. And then you had the Native Americans were like, whoa, shit, I'm not going into there. Fuck that. Yeah. There's a big fucking gorilla thing. What's a gorilla? What are you on about? Give me those mushrooms.
So, where's the Yeti then? That's kind of
that's the Himalayas,
Tibet and stuff, isn't it? The Himalayas.
It's the Himalayas, yeah.
And are they considered the same thing, or what's the story?
No idea. Got to be cousins. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
interesting that 2 different sides of the world have a very not really. Like I suppose, like that's like saying, isn't it interesting that there's like ape-like creatures on 2 different continents? Not really, I suppose.
I mean, that's the way I would think about it. Maybe I need to look up more stuff. But the problem with looking up Bigfoot stuff is that you have all these terrible History Channel. Why is the History Channel not about history anymore? It's about cars.
The only thing I ever knew the History Channel about was some dodgy Nazi documentaries.
They do a lot
that repeat it over and over and over again.
Like, there's just a lot of these. Like, my dad watches these because he thinks it's the greatest comedy on earth. Like, it's just these 4 rednecks looking for or going crazy because they found what might be a footprint. Do you know, he thinks it's hilarious because he's just like, these people are idiots.
Greg Newkirk, did they do a Bigfoot one? Is that the first thing they did? I have some connection in my head between Bigfoot and Greg Newkirk that like there's some documentary, but again, I could be conflating. I must look that up. See what it is.
I mean, I'd like to know what the Native Americans think on it.
Well, is it like the bear walker, skin walker thing? Is that what they think it is?
Nah, because that's a spirit that they put into someone, isn't it? But it's an animal spirit that they put in to someone, you know?
Well, they're not. The skinwalkers are different. That seems to be like some sort of outside alien kind of thing. That's genuinely creepy. That stuff.
That is
like
fucked up, There's some
I seen when I was looking through Missing 411, there is another skinwalker documentary on Amazon Prime. But it's so annoying with these documentaries because you go, oh, I can't wait to get in. And then 2 seconds in, you go, I hate this documentary. It's rubbish. it's like, you know those documentaries that repeat the same line 16 times over the course of an hour? Like the same.
Yeah.
Oh, is that a ghost? And then 4 minutes later, oh, is that a ghost?
It's made for American TV. That's what they are. So that after the ads, they'll fucking remind people. You know, I hate that stuff. But it's just formulaic. That's the way it is. I think I need to go off and kind of look up what the Native Americans have to say about it, because I'd be more interested on their take than fucking TV producers and whatever. But then, like, I don't know. I mean, okay. Like, I can accept. I think a Bigfoot is a thing and does exist, probably. Yeah. But that, as far as I'm concerned, it's just the remnants of Neanderthal man who survived in America, and just let him off.
So you're not going with their aliens, interdimensional beings of light, or anything like that?
No, because they're a bit thick, aren't they? Do you know?
Depends. Do you ask? You know.
But they're just they don't. Am I going to get fucking balls deep? Every fucking thing I talk to you about, I end up buying books and ended up with encyclopedia. I almost bought fucking Yorodowski's tarot deck today, and I'm just like, that's money I can't afford it. I can't, and I'm hovering, but I can't afford it. But I'm just like, no, I need that money for something else. I need that money for something else. I need that money for something else. And I just had to stand up and walk away from the laptop.
But the link is still open though. At any point, you can just walk back and
but those tarot cards are beautiful. So they're really nice, you know. They're probably the nicest. I hope the other ones didn't hear me. Put a curse on me. Aiga won't give me her tarot cards because she's afraid it'll upset the cards. I'm like, what? She's like, okay, all right. Yeah. But I have the reality transurfing ones, which I'm translating, that I told you about.
So people have very weird things about the tarot cards. Like, there's another kind of thing. It's a bit like a wallet. You know that kind of story you have about where you're not meant to buy yourself a wallet that has meant to be a gift. Have you ever come across that?
Is that why my mother keeps giving me wallets?
It seems to be a thing. And it's like, or you have to be given a gift, and there has to be money in the wallet, or there's all of these kind of different things. But people have that about tarot cards, is that you can't buy a tarot deck, that it has to be given to you. Which, you know.
But then how do you give it to someone? You have to buy it.
Well, you see, if it's the circumstance of the universe has to all come together in the right order and at the right time in order for you to...
No, but like, okay, I want to give you a gift of the tarot cards, but I have to buy them first. Fuck, I'm not allowed to buy them. Someone has to gift them to me, but then they have to buy them. But they can't buy them either.
The loophole, though, if I buy them on Amazon for you, but it never comes in my possession, it just goes straight to your house. That would probably
still your credit card being used, man. You can't trick.
But there was at no point did they ever belong to me.
When you bought them. They belong to you?
No, because they were immediately moved out of, never in my possession. Why do we care about this? Never in my possession. They were immediately taken from some Amazon
it's your
slave,
possession.
put
your
them in
possession.
the box.
It's totally your possession until they're in my hands. If you give something to someone, it's yours until you give it. Ha ha! I win! I won an argument! I won an argument! Tommy!
I will find the answer.
Bye-bye!